Good morning and welcome to Melzworld Live. I'm Ramel Otis, and today is Thursday, May 15th, 2025. We're halfway through the month of May. I hope everyone's had a pretty solid week so far. We're almost at Friday. So, yeah, just hang in there. We'll be there for those who work. Today, I want to talk about my friend Jeff. I went to see him yesterday. Lives out in Lakeside. When I was much younger, I had a friend who lived out in Lakeside. I can barely remember his face. I can see his face in my mind, but I don't know if that's accurate anymore. I don't know if I can sketch him out. But yeah, when I was a very very young child, this kid was like my best friend. At least I think he was. Um, I used to visit him in Lakeside, and I used to just we used to hang out at his house, and he had a front yard full of kind of junk, and we'd play a lot of. He lived more on the countryish side, like a ranch or something. Um, Lots of eucalyptus trees, but I remember playing pretend a lot with him, which was a cool thing to do when you were a kid. Lots of imagination. You know, chairs were rocket seats, and um, boxes were buildings, and you could do all these things. So I had a good memory of Lakeside. My parents used to drive me out there. I'd like to say his name was Chris. That sounds like that's what his name was, but yeah, it was. I don't know if my parents were friends with his parents, like to drive me out to Lakeside, which is only half an hour, but to drive me out for a kid, I don't know. I don't know how I don't know. I mean, we've driven Roman like 40 miles, 40 minutes to see a friend, but we end up losing contact with them. Anyways, Jeff is somebody who is about, I don't know, 5 years my senior, right? Late late 40s, mid to late 40s. Um, he's Filipino. He's from New York, but yeah, he very hardworking, really good dad, very smart guy, tons of certifications, and reached the status of manager at a pretty big tech company, tech product, and he was laid off or let go on January of this year. You know, he followed the rules. He was a great leader. He did everything right. He didn't buck the system, right? He wasn't trying to fight. He wasn't trying to fight someone. He wasn't at odds. He wasn't trying to, you know, butt heads. And he still lost his job. And what's really annoying is, unlike me, his mortgage is massive. He has a massive amount of mortgage. He's got two kids. His wife works full time, and he can't get a job. It's been 6 months. It's been 6 months, and he says he's had a tremendous amount of interviews. At one company, he had up to 5 interviews that he didn't place on. Can you imagine that? Last night, Lisa sent me a meme that said it took him 2 days to decide on the next pope. How is it people are getting 5 interviews, right? That's the craziest thing. The fact of the matter is, this market is insane. This is an insane job market. And for a guy like Jeff, who is skilled and personable and hardworking and consistent, for him to not get a job is madness. It's madness. And it just, you go, okay, because when I say I can't get a job, I have a good resume, I have good experience, but I don't have his very specific experience. His specific experience is in IT. You should have IT managers. You should have people that work in those. But what's happening is the IT managers are just people that were in IT, and they've let go of the managers and they've brought in their younger ones so they can pay them less. And what he's applying for are roles they're not going to hire for because they're looking for people that don't have his experience. They don't think they can afford him. Maybe people think they can't afford me. You know, that's that's potentially tragic, right? The world is giving this vibe that people cannot be hired. People are not being seen, right? His wife works at UCSD and she works in HR. And what she's saying is she's overloaded with resumes. So she knows that there are hundreds of applicants and some of them could be amazing, but she has to be very, very broad stroke in how she isolates those resumes. And so once again, it's just another insight into this madness of hundreds and hundreds of applicants versus one person or an applicant tracking system, right? And referrals don't work anymore. So what do you do? What do you do when the referral system doesn't work? When the application system doesn't work? When you're competing against hundreds of people, when people aren't retiring when they're supposed to because the retirement age keeps getting pushed up, but more people are getting pushed into the workforce where there's a ton of jobs if you want to wash dishes, if you want to serve at a restaurant, but there's no more jobs that a person that has been solidly educated can get right now. It's hard. It's really hard. And I mean, I can talk on this. I can talk on this stream every single morning about it, and I won't. I'm only bringing it up again because it's like I said, a good friend who I believe is worth 10 other IT people combined still can't land. And what pisses me off is that it then creates an atmosphere that you have to be scared to lose your job. That's another thing. You're now suddenly terrified if you have a job. You're hearing my stories and you're like, "Oh, I better not act up. I better." But then somebody like Jeff, it's almost like now it doesn't matter if you act up or not, you might still lose your job, right? You still might be cut. Because he worked hard. He didn't raise any flags. He wasn't trying to foment anything. It's madness. Therein lies madness. Because he did nothing wrong. And he was still a casualty. And I'm pretty sure 10 years ago, when people were laid off, you could say the same argument. But I was reading another article about a $150,000 software engineer who said during pandemic, during the recession in 2008, lost his job, bounced back. During the pandemic, lost his job, bounced back. But now things hit differently, right? The world doesn't seem to want employees as much as it felt like, right? You would think that you were confident enough. When I was laid off, when I lost my job in 2010, I mean, I obviously goofed off for 6 months, but I loved it, right? And then when it was time to look for a job, I found a call center job, and I worked from the ground up. But like now, you can't think that way. You now have to just consistently grind and apply and not know whether or not you're going to get an answer. Anyways, yeah, I just feel bad. I feel bad because in our situation, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna figure it out. We've always figured it out, and I'm not too tremendously worried. I'm probably sure I should be worried, but I'm not. I feel confident that things are gonna work out. But for him, I don't know. They're when we say we're tapping into our savings, we're looking. It's a drip, right? We're dripping away, and we're hoping to counteract the drip eventually, right? Where every drop that goes away, there is an end date, but we can stretch that end date, and in fact, we could eventually reverse that end date. But he's not dripping. I'm sure his savings are giant chunks. He's getting $900 a paycheck, right? $1,800 a month, because that's the max you can get. But I bet you if he was earning $4, $5, $6,000 a month, that's huge. You know. Anyways, yeah, I hope he can find something. I'll keep an eye out for him. But yeah, it's wild. So, all right, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, so let's dive right into updates. Yesterday was all about Jeff. So, how's health, auto, work? Reached out to Brandon. So I gotta meet with him. Get memorabilia to him on Friday. 5/16. Okay. I did email James, by the way, so responded James. Creative Visual. This is it right here. This is it. I don't know. I need to start the narration for this. It's almost like, I don't know. I'm scared. I should do it. It really is important that I do this narration for the video resume. Am I scared that it'll work? Am I scared that if I do this right and I record it and it does well, that I am at risk of getting a job? Am I scared that I'm going to make it and nothing's going to happen? I don't know. I need to be more assertive with getting this narration recorded because it's got to go out there. It has to. So I really have to focus on getting it recorded today and starting the filming process and really putting together that because I need to know if this will work or not. And it'll only know if I put it out there. I don't know, afraid of failure or afraid of success, maybe a little bit of both, and then that's kind of what's putting me in this lock position. We'll see. Okay. The World's concert. So, the challenge of having someone to rely on is the fact that you're relying on someone. And maybe the reason that people aren't as successful is because their reliability isn't there when their energy and enthusiasm is. That might be the problem. Anyways, I'd love to keep the World's concert moving, and maybe I send a message and say, listen, dude, I want to get this started. I want to move forward, and if there's an issue, let me know, because I don't want to have a co-founder that I can't rely on. We need to settle down. We need him to come down here, but if his life is too wild or chaotic or whatever, I don't know. So, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of projects. That's the problem, is none of these pay. This one could pay. This one doesn't. This one doesn't. This one has weird spots to pay. This one doesn't. There's my nephew right there. It's funny. You can see him playing video games at 8:45 in the morning. That kid is fully employed and kind of has a dirty remote schedule, right? Like a dirty hybrid. He's supposed to be in the office. And the funny thing is, I think he coffee badges, right? So he badges into the office for like an hour or two and then leaves. So like, is that not remote anymore if you pop in and say hi and then leave. I don't know. But these are just playing video games. This is everybody trying to get a job. And there he is, popping up. Anyways, okay. So let's look at our notes. Yeah, we met with Jeff. It was good. We're gonna hang out again. Put a date on the calendar. Do work with the unrest. Record narration. Let's get some work done today, huh? What do you think? All right. Well, it's 8:46. I did my rant and I did my updates, and we are here. And so for you who quietly listen, I appreciate you. We'll do it again tomorrow. Oh, I guess I have to put on the list. Call with Rainy. Put that on the calendar. Thanks again for joining. I hope we'll see you again tomorrow at 8:30, sharp-ish. If you can make it, make it. Otherwise, yeah, I'll keep the lights on and we'll start it again. So this is Melzworld Live, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great Thursday.